All right, fellow fact checkers. Now, before we start the show, I want to remind you to head over and check out our great sponsor, Fox and Son Coffee. They've got an amazing deal with all kinds of blends going on. So head over there and check it out. You can get the Mexican honey prep, the Brazilian honey prep, the Guatemalan, the Ethiopian. They'll be adding new roasts regularly. So be sure to check in and see what new flavors Steve has got over at Fox and Sons Coffee. They've also got all of your usual favorites, the Den Blend Dark, the Den Blend Light, and the one that we personally like around the house since we can't seem to agree on which of the light or the dark is better for both me and the wife, the Den Blend 2 Electric Boogaloo, which is the medium roast. So be sure to use the checkout code FCT for Fact Check This at checkout, and that'll get you an 18% discount on any order of $25 or more. Also, any order of $37.99 or more get you free shipping. Load up on all the greatest coffee on the market, and you can thank me later. Well, let's start the show.
This episode will be completely taken out of context. Welcome to the Fact Check This podcast.
Donald Trump and the Republican Party has changed the electorate. What do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look at party identification, Democrats versus Republicans. You go back to 2017, 5 points more of the electorate was Democrats than Republicans. You go to 2021 when Joe Biden was starting out, look at that, 6 points more of the electorate was Democrats than Republicans. But look at what's happened in February of 2025. Look at this. Republicans, there are more Republicans in the electorate than there are Democrats. Republican +2. So Donald Trump and the Republicans have remade the electorate. They've turned some people over from being Democrats or independents to become Republicans. New folks have entered the electorate who are more Republican leaning. And so when you combine that with the fact that Republicans are really, really behind Donald Trump, all of a sudden you get a winning recipe whereby you break the normal rules of politics and give Donald Trump that positive net approval rating when he had pretty much a consistently negative one in term number one. As I said at the beginning, he's copying Frank Sinatra, doing it my way.
That is from CNN. And that is absolutely incredible. Today, for this episode, we're going to be looking at 3 articles that are from typically leftist media sites that the only way I can describe them is they're grasping at straws for anything that they can twist, turn, and pitch as being something anti-Trump, being an L for Trump. Like, they don't have anything that they can actually take W's from, so they're just trying to manufacture losses for Trump. And it's becoming increasingly more insane. And also flies in, and like their attempts at this fly in the face of the approval ratings that are just consistently going up and up and up. The last I saw, might have been yesterday, was Trump was trending at about a 58% approval rating. They write these articles where they'll talk about that Trump's approval ratings are down, but they're taking some of the most skewed polls ever. And even by that metric, the approval rating that they show on those polls is still the highest that those polls have ever showed Trump having. So they're like, oh, look, Trump's doing terrible. He's got a 48% approval rating in this Newsweek poll. And the same poll in Joe Biden's first 30 days as president showed that he had a 51% approval rating. Like, this is a Newsweek poll. And even like Politico and ABC, a lot of their polls have been showing Trump at 53 to 55% approval ratings. So a lot of these articles are just hilarious. The way that they are attempting to create losses for Trump that don't exist. You see articles all the time where they're spinning this out as that there's some friction between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and then literally the next day you've got Trump and Musk in the White House together doing a press conference together with Musk's son there, and like there is no rift. There is no like schism between Trump and Elon Musk. Nobody voted for this. Yes, we absolutely did. This is 100% what we voted for. Like the cope is real and it's incredible. And we'll get to some of my thoughts on why all of this has happened. But first, there was one article, one of the three, that is an attempt to manufacture a W for the left. Jasmine Crockett torches MAGA and Elon Musk with the most backhanded apology ever. Jasmine Crockett is not an intelligent person. If you have not, I cannot say I blame you. But if you have paid attention to any congressional hearings over the last couple years that Jasmine Crockett has been involved in, this bitch is dumb. She is objectively not an intelligent person. And the way she does these little backhanded apologies and stuff that they get the media to, slay queen. It's usually something pretty fucking stupid. So let's just jump right in. The Texas lawmaker mockingly told Donald Trump's supporters, "You were 1,000% correct." Representative Jasmine Crockett on Sunday sarcastically admitted she was wrong about the key part of President Donald Trump's MAGA platform. Trump has frequently claimed that immigrants were taking jobs from Americans, at times insisting that more than 100% of new jobs were going to them. "Here's an immigrant taking people's jobs," Crockett admitted in a post on social media. "His name is Elon Musk." Tech billionaire Musk, who was born in South Africa, has been leading Trump's effort to shrink the government and cut spending, which has led to agencies being gutted. Crockett pointed out the impact, direct and indirect, that Musk cuts are already having around the nation. "He's snatching farms, government jobs, even those in which they manage our national security, and definitely those whose jobs are to root out fraud," inspector generals. And if you think that inspector generals are actually looking for fraud, you might be a fucking moron. "And those that are keeping us safe," the FAA. Sure. "Meals on Wheels workers, Head Start, and the list goes on. So I'll be the bigger person and admit to MAGA that I was wrong when I said immigrants wouldn't take our jobs. You were 1,000% correct." Oh my God, slay queen. Yes, we were 1,000% correct. An immigrant is taking all the jobs. It's Elon Musk. Oh my gosh. This is their wins. Like this is the only thing they can manufacture for wins right now. So Crockett said earlier this month on MSNBC that even some Republicans in Congress weren't happy with Musk and were secretly rooting for him to fail. The Republicans in Congress who are secretly rooting for Musk to fail are the ones who have money tied up in all of these wasteful bullshit government programs that Doge is uncovering and gutting and stripping and stopping. And they can't publicly say that they aren't happy with it, because then that would be admitting that they've been engaged in this shit for probably forever, and then their constituents would vote their asses out. That's why they are secretly rooting for him to lose or to fail. Because if they publicly rooted for it, they would lose their jobs, because they are not trying to serve the will of their constituents and the people. They are serving the will of their fucking pocketbook. And they've got shit invested in all of this government waste and fraud and theft that Elon Musk is uncovering. That's why they're rooting for it to fail. Now, will they come out publicly and say that? No, because they're concerned about whether or not he'll spend money in their next election, she said, before urging her GOP colleagues to rise up and do what is right by speaking out. As a matter of fact, I actually agree with Jasmine Crockett on that one particular point. Yes, absolutely 100%. The Republicans who are cheering for Elon Musk to fail and who don't want Doge to uncover all of this waste and fraud and bullshit, they 100% should come out and say that publicly so that we know who they are and we can get them the fuck out. Run them out on a rail, dump them in the river, float them on down, and never see their asses again. I am on board with that 100%. The next article that I thought was interesting, I guess. There are some there are multiple parts of this that I think are interesting. So let's just jump right into it. Fox News host Jessica Tarlov says young Trump voter reached out to her to express his regrets. Okay, number one, I have absolutely no fucking clue who Jessica Tarlov is. This is supposedly a Fox News host. Looking at the pictures of her, I can't believe that she's a Fox type. Oh, what is that? Raging moderates. Oh, that might be the gayest shit I've ever heard. Anyway, a young Trump voter told Fox News co-host that he and his family were frustrated over the chaotic changes occurring in the first 2 weeks of the new Trump administration. Oh my God, a single Trump voter and his family are frustrated, assuming that this motherfucker is even actually a Trump voter. Like, somebody called into a show to say that I voted for Trump and now I'm not happy with things. Okay. I'm sure we should take the word of one supposed Trump voter over 58% of the population being polled on their approval of what Trump is doing. That's definitely this one guy, though, is a 20-year-old. What? It gets better, I guess. A 20-year-old college student who voted for President Donald Trump told Fox News co-host Jessica Tarlov that he was frustrated with the level of chaos in the new administration just 2 weeks into the president's term. Tarlov, a liberal co-host of The Five, revealed on her podcast Raging Moderates last week that the college student from the Midwest said the new Trump administration was not what he was anticipating. Tarlov said the unnamed college student emailed her saying, as someone who voted for Trump, you have been communicating a lot of frustrations I have been feeling alongside some family and friends who did not expect all the chaos. If this isn't like bullshit layered on top of bullshit layered on top of bullshit, I don't know what else is. This is almost worse than, the college students who cry racism and then it turns out that they were the ones who spray painted their own cars. Like, does anybody read just these first 3 paragraphs of this and not think, wow, this is like complete and utter total bullshit? But this is the kind of stuff that the left is spinning out as they're like, oh my God, look, Trump is so evil and bad. Some fucking retard 20-year-old doesn't like what he's doesn't like the chaos. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. Are you happy now, MAGA? Are you happy now, MAGA? Is this what you wanted, MAGA? Yeah, motherfucker, this is exactly what I wanted. No lie. This has been the greatest month of politics fucking ever. It only took 2 weeks, Tarlov said, this level of chaos, for him to feel strongly enough that he would write that down. Oh my God, he wrote it down. So brave. Among those frustrations are Trump's 10% tariffs on Chinese imports, something the student anticipates will impact his family's small business because all of their products are made in China. Oh, that's tragic. Tarlov wrote on X that she anticipates the student's comments are only the beginning and other Trump voters will regret voting for the Republican. Nobody regrets this. This is like the shot, the clot shot. Nobody regrets not getting it. Nobody regrets voting for Trump. We are all happy as can fucking be about these decisions. In his first 3 weeks of office, Trump has signed 65 executive orders, including implementing his mass deportation program, restricting immigration across the U.S.-Mexico border, axing all diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, and barring transgender minors from obtaining gender-affirming care. Keep piling on the wins. Fuck yes. Couldn't get any better. Interestingly enough, one of the things that they point to and talk about is the number of executive orders signed in the first day and the first 100 days in the first year will be the ones that really get talked about and hit on. Donald Trump is running away with it right now. He did 26 executive orders on day one, 66 so far. And that, that's a month in. I mean, and this is all by design. This is the way the administration planned it out. This is what they talked about that they were going to do. They are executing all of the plans that they had put in place. And this is exactly what everybody knew up front was going to happen. And we all enthusiastically voted for it because this is what we wanted. That's all there is to it. This is what we wanted. They're going to keep spinning. Oh my gosh, look how terrible this is. Are you still happy? Are you still happy? Yes, motherfucker, I'm going to be happy. If it only gets worse from here, and by worse from here, I mean Trump continues to do all of the things that he's currently doing, and the left continues to squeal and spiral out of control, losing their shit over it. If that happens month over month over month for the next 4 years, I don't give a good goddamn what the price of eggs or any fucking thing else is. I don't care what the tariffs do to Chinese goods. I don't care about any of that shit. If it keeps these people screaming and crying and on their heels trying to figure out where they went wrong, except that they're not trying to figure out where they went wrong. They think that they're still in the right, and they're just going to scream at the clouds for 4 fucking years. If that's what happens and that's what comes out of this, I will be tickled to death. This will be the most joyous 4 years of my fucking life. I don't care what the price of anything does. I'll survive that. The joy that will be in my heart will carry me through having to pay a little bit more for eggs. And I don't pay anything for eggs anyway because I have chickens. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, I pay the eggs because I have to buy feed and stuff. But I also have to buy feed for the goats and the pig and the ducks and all the other animals. So that's like a big lump thing. Like that's the cost of the eggs is offset by, all the other stuff. The cost of the feed for the eggs is offset by the other stuff because we also will be getting duck eggs and, there's more that goes to it. Anyway, continuing on. I knew this Jessica Tarlov chick was definitely, look, like for those who are watching the video, you can just look at some people and the second you see their face, it's like, oh God, yeah, you're one of those. Like she doesn't have the blue hair, but I would be willing to bet at some point during the last 10 years, she has had it. Even before Trump was elected in November, it was expected that he would aggressively overhaul the government to suit his agenda. Yes, that's what we voted for. However, the speed at which he is trying to do so, and with Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, was not anticipated by some. The only thing that wasn't anticipated by some is that we didn't think it would actually happen. We all hoped that this would be what happened, but we didn't think that it would. We thought there's no way that we voted for this on hopes and prayers that that's what he would actually do, but we didn't realistically expect him to do it. So we're not upset by it. We're actually tickled to fucking death. Like we're not in shock because it's happening in a bad way. We're in shock because we never thought it would happen. And now we don't even have words to express how excited we are about it. Early polling indicates most Americans are content with Trump's administration aggressively rolling out his agenda. CBS News YouGov found that 70% of people believe Trump is doing what he promised on the campaign trail. At the same time, most people think Musk or Doge shouldn't have the vast authority that it does. We've talked about this poll. Most people think Musk or Doge shouldn't have the vast authority it does is a completely skewed view of the polling data and does not reflect what it actually says. And we've talked about this before. 32% polled said that they didn't think Elon should have any authority whatsoever. And that pretty well ran along the party line of the number of participants in this poll who were just dead set, hardcore Democrats, anti-Trump leftists. 32% said Trump or Elon should have no authority whatsoever. I can't remember what it was. But between the other two, it was almost split evenly for the other 68%. Said either Elon should have total control or at least some level of control. So 68% of the polling of the respondents to this poll thought that Elon should have some level of authority. Only 32% said he shouldn't have any at all. So they skew the data on this polling. Musk, a billionaire and unelected political appointee. This is another one of those things that they make a big deal about is the unelected political appointees, unelected bureaucrats. They never gave a fuck about unelected bureaucrats until it was Elon Musk. In fact, if it was literally anybody other than Elon Musk, I still don't think they would care. Like all of a sudden they have a big problem with rich people giving money to politicians because Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg and Elon all have donated money to Trump. They all also donated money to Biden and to Obama and like Democrats consistently over the years. But now all of a sudden, because this year they donated money to Trump, now this is a bad thing. Unelected political appointees have never been a problem until now when it's Elon Musk. And I've talked about this before too. They don't fucking care that they're hypocrites. They don't have a single solitary fucking care in their body. They don't have a moral, ethical, principled bone in their body. They don't fucking care. So you can't call them on being hypocrites for it because they don't fucking care. As a result, decades-old departments are being axed without transition plans in place. Good. Federal judges are pausing and unpausing various government programs. Workers are standing on thin ice. Lawmakers and state attorney generals are challenging every attempt to dismantle the administrative state. And the Democrats are protesting much of the sweeping change. Challenging every attempt to dismantle the administrative state. For those who understand what the administrative state means and understand how terrible such a thing is, that it even exists, you have to laugh. Like, y'all are fighting to keep the worst fucking things in place. Like, are you insane? It's just, it's asinine. Speaking of asinine, we get to the last article, and this one might be the biggest reach of looking for something to declare a win or to say that, you know, to give Trump and the right a loss. Joe Rogan dethroned by anti-Trump podcast in the charts. Joe Rogan has lost his number one slot to a show critical of President Donald Trump, the Midas Touch podcast, according to Podscribe data. I've never heard of the Midas Touch podcast. Don't think I'll listen to it. Have no interest in it. But apparently, it is now number one, according to Podscribe data. Newsweek has reached out to a representative for Rogan and the Midas Touch podcast outside regular working hours via email for comment. The podcast charts have largely been dominated by shows with a conservative or pro-Trump voice, and the likes of Joe Rogan, Sean Ryan, and Ben Shapiro have frequently appeared in the top 10. Trump himself appeared on a number of these podcasts, eschewing traditional media outlets as part of his successful bid for re-election in 2024. Less than a month into the new administration, the rise of the left-leaning Midas Touch to become the country's most popular podcast indicates a potential shift in tone currently resonating with Americans. We'll get there. It's okay. It's interesting that they. Oh shoot. It's interesting that they went there. That so they're extrapolating out 1 month worth of data to say that there's a shifting tone in America because this one podcast, went to number one for 1 month after Trump got elected. Crazy, right? Also, Rogan hasn't had anything like Rogan hasn't had any like really big shows that I'm aware of over the past month. Like there hasn't been anything that really like caught my eye. I'll still get notifications every once in a while, and if I see something that pops up that I really think, oh yeah, I'd like to hear what that person has to say, then I'll listen to it. But like Rogan is still wildly popular. It's not that Rogan dropped off by any means. Like that is not what happened in this. Rogan did not drop off. The Midas touch got a big boost, and we'll talk about why I believe that is and why that's important after we get through this article. The Joe Rogan experience has long dominated the podcast charts, but this month it slipped down to second spot according to Podscribe. His podcast was downloaded and played 48.6 million times, a 32% decrease from the previous month. The Midas Touch podcast took the top spot with 56 million downloads and plays, increasing in reach by 101% this month. Midas Touch was founded by three brothers, Brett, Ben, and Jordy Macelis. It is described on its website as a pro-democracy news network. The organization first started with creating viral videos and political ads opposing Trump and supporting Democratic candidates. The podcast is critical of Trump, and in the most recent episode, Ben Macelis said, "The buck stops with you whether Trump wants to admit it or not. He needs to take responsibility for everything that is going on, and I think it is up to the people to hold him responsible, and I know that's what we're going to do here every single day." Isn't that fucking cute? Isn't that fucking cute? Oh my God. That's what we're going to do every day. We're going to hold Trump accountable every day. Isn't that fucking cute? Hold him accountable every day for the next 4 fucking years while he continues to steamroll ahead and do whatever the fuck he wants. But it's so cute that you're going to hold him accountable. Oh my God. Trump's election campaign podcast appearances were influenced by his youngest child, Barron Trump, who was the reason behind his father doing interviews on Aiden Ross and Bussin' with the Boys. Trump told Fox News' Maria Bartiromo in October that Barron tells me all the hot guys, people I've never heard of. When Trump claimed victory in the 2024 U.S. presidential election, his longtime friend Dana White thanked some of the hosts of podcasts Trump had appeared on during the campaign. "I want to thank the Nelk Boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, Bussin' with the Boys, and last but not least, the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan." In a post on X, formerly Twitter, Midas Touch wrote, "The Midas Touch podcast is officially the #1 podcast in the U.S. per the newly released Podscribe industry rankings with 57.7 million downloads and views per month." 57.7 million downloads and views for a single month is what you should have said. Also, the bigger question would be if Kamala Harris went on Midas Touch, would that have moved the needle in any way whatsoever? No. I guarantee you it wouldn't have. Nobody knows or cares what the Midas Touch is outside of insane leftists. And that's where they're flocking for this. Also, I would like to see what the global views are, what the global numbers are. Because Spotify is all over the world. And Rogan is popular not just in the United States. I would be curious to see the numbers and see if Midas Touch does well anywhere else, or if it's just exclusively in the U.S. Because I would be willing to bet it's literally just in the U.S. Like it's the place for the insane leftists to find somebody that's saying all the things that they want to hear. Congressman Robert Garcia in a post on X, "Congrats to Midas Touch and well done to the whole crew. We need to be everywhere and to reach working people and to get our message out. Let's keep it up." Whether Midas Touch will hold on to the top spot or whether more anti-Trump podcasts start to climb the charts remains to be seen. Remains to be seen. I would be willing to bet. So here's the thing. And this is how I'm going to wrap up. And this is also really how we got to this point. And we talked about this on Peddling Fiction, and I've talked about this on other shows I've been on and stuff. When Obama was in office, left-wing media was dying. They wouldn't say anything bad about Obama ever. They wouldn't report anything controversial. They stopped reporting. they just turned it into a giant cock-sucking fest of, oh my God, look at Obama and Big Mike. And then just like, that's it. That's all they did for 8 fucking years. And mainstream media was dying. The best thing that ever happened to them was Donald Trump coming onto the scene in 2015 and announcing that he was going to run for president, because now they had the thing that they could start talking about. And for 4 years, that's all they had to do was just rage bait on Donald Trump. And it worked. Leftists just gobble that shit up. They can't stay off of it. They need it. It's the only thing that validates them, because they don't have any real validation in their life outside of, they need to hear other people that they think are popular or influential saying the things that they also think, so that they know that they're right. That's this broken brain syndrome that they have. They needed that. And so they glommed onto that. And then Donald Trump lost. And so the question became, how does the mainstream media stay relevant post Donald Trump? And they had 2 options. Either, well, I guess they had 3 options. Either they cover Joe Biden without a tilt or without a lean, like just be nonpartisan and cover the Joe Biden presidency. 0% chance that was ever going to happen. They actually started to do it about halfway through, whenever it became very apparent that, like, holy fucking shit, this is like train wreck disaster bad. But for the first 18 months, nothing at all. So you either are going to cover Biden objectively, or you're going to go back to sucking Democrat dick all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. Or you just keep on talking about Donald Trump forever. Those are the only options that they had. And I thought for sure that they would leave the Trump thing alone. Like, we'd have the outrage about January 6th, and within a month, that would die down. You'd have the inauguration, and then they would just let Trump leave. They would let Trump go back to Mar-a-Lago, and everybody would just move the fuck on. And then they didn't do it. They kept trying to go back to that well. They kept trying to run Trump's a Nazi, Trump's a fascist, Trump's the worst thing to ever happen to humanity over and over and over again. And then, because they also needed it, and by they, I mean the Biden administration and the Democrats themselves, they needed to continue to go after Trump to validate to their supporters that, yes, he is evil. He is the thing we have to be focused on. So they kept going after him, and they kept going after him. And it did 2 things. One, it reinvigorated him. He was the defeated man. After Biden's inauguration, I sincerely think Trump was going to just ride off into the sunset and go live the rest of his days peacefully at Mar-a-Lago and never be heard from again. But they kept going after him, and that pissed him off, and that reinvigorated him to fight back. And because they kept doing it over and over again, and not only did they keep doing it over and over again, but now they're doing it while there's also a Democrat in office who the country is objectively getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse under. So they're ignoring the real problems, and it just becomes more and more blatantly obvious. This is the reason that Trump was able to come back with a vengeance and win. And and also the reason that the country shifted to the right the way it did, because they didn't know how to let go. They couldn't just move on. The left and the left-wing media created this monster, and they deserve everything they fucking get. And the reason that they're flocking to the Midas touch now is because there are some stations and there are some news outlets like the Washington Post, like NBC, like Time Magazine, that while they still lean to the left, they are becoming more objective. They are becoming more rational and reasonable in the way that they cover things. And then you have CNN that's in the process of gutting, while CNN leadership is saying that they're going to be more of an objective news source. Now, and then you had MSNBC, what's her face, or Joe and Minka, I can't remember what their names are, from the Morning Joe that went and met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Like, as you have some of the more legacy media type stuff realizing, fuck, like maybe we need to do things a little bit differently going forward, especially with Trump's threats of like stripping their licenses being on the table. And they're like, maybe we ought to play ball. Now they are disenfranchising a lot of their longtime, most insane viewership and listenership. So now they're looking for another outlet that's screaming all of the insanity that they want to hear. And where do they find that? The fucking Midas Touch. They need the insanity because it validates their own fucking TDS. And that's where they're finding it. They created this monster and now they get to fucking live with it. And it's beautiful. And I can't wait for 4 more years, 8 more years. I don't want it to ever end. Keep these motherfuckers crying. I love it. I love it. Thank you all for joining me. Go check out the daily stuff that I do every day. And I can't remember what I got next week. It'll come to me and I'll announce it on one of the dailies. We will be, so the morning show that I do, we will be doing a evening show tomorrow, Friday, February 21st. We'll start at 6:30 Central PM. We'll be doing game nights or game night and all kinds of other stuff. Our night shows are always night show happy hour hangouts are always a lot of fun and goofy and stupid, and we all drink a little too much and talk a lot of shit, and it's a lot of fun. So I highly recommend looking for that over on The Morning After, which you cannot find on YouTube by searching for The Morning After. You have to search for Vasectomy Clubhouse, and that'll take you right to us. 6:30 p.m. Central tomorrow. We will be shooting the shit, drinking some adult beverages and playing dumb games and having probably way too much fun. Join in for that. Peddling Fiction will also be live sometime tomorrow afternoon. I'm not really sure what time because I do have shit going on with my kids tomorrow, but we'll figure that out once we figure it out. Anyway, that's all I got going on for the rest of the week. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will catch you later. See ya.
Before you go, make sure you check out our great sponsor, Agorist Acres. Now, agoristacres.com, you can find over 100 varieties of seeds. They've got vegetables, flowers, all kinds of stuff. They've got heritage brands, everything that you want to start any kind of garden that you need. It's free shipping on any order of $20 or more. They've got cool packaging, and most of the seeds come in a fancy glass vial, no paper envelopes. They accept US dollars and crypto and can easily take either at checkout. Now be sure to head over to agoristacres.com, and anything that you get, use the promo code FCT at checkout for 10% off your order. I say all the time that you need to be starting your own garden, you need to be growing your own food, you need to be getting off the grid and becoming less dependent on grocery stores and stuff like that. Agorist Acres is a great first start. They have got everything you need for whatever kind of garden you want. Great people, Great product. Highly recommend. So go check them out.